Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Crashes and Taxes. I am your host for this 2022 first broadcast, Rebecca Walser. So excited to be with you, my friends. And let me just say thank you so much for the level of support of the reach outs that we got on that last podcast. Thank you so much. We definitely heard a lot from a lot of you on how much that resonated with you. And that means a lot to us. We are wanting to get this podcast out to expand it in 2022. And so please give us a 5-star review, encourage your friends, encourage your family. We have some huge cheerleaders for Crashes and Taxes, and they promote us everywhere. So thank you to those loyal listeners. And for the rest of you that reached out to us that really were impacted by our last 2021 podcast where we talked about America and how far we've come since we left England to start our own experimental country. It was a great podcast, and I thank you all. And now let's turn to 2022. And I know that many of you might be feeling confused and shocked and alarmed and wondering, are we going to get some level of normalcy? And as I've been discussing this with you, we were prepared to brace for impact. We were prepared to see what we're seeing now in front of our very eyes. And so volatility is something that you need to be prepared to deal with. And a market retrenchment is something that you need to be prepared to deal with. We are in it, and we are going to see where this market really truly should be. And it's not where it is right now. If you kind of think in terms of technical analysis and the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, what you're going to really start to realize is that we sort of passed all the technical analysis with the $8 trillion of stimulus that was put in. So we sort of just got this $8 trillion, and it just sort of brought our market up by about 45, 50%. And we sort of leveled out there. And normally, under normal circumstances, if you have a temporary stimulus that gets you to a new high, if the stimulus isn't maintained and there are no true economic fundamentals to be able to sustain the market at that level, you will see a gradual market reversion to the mean. The mean on the S&P 500 before Corona was just under 3,400. So you think of 3,400 as a pre-high Corona normalized market of the S&P 500, 3,400. You know, the 4,700 that we were hitting at the end of December, we always get the Santa Claus effect. I don't know that we had a substantial Santa Claus effect. That's where you really see the technology stocks just come in and just surge in the last week of the year for the Santa effect. I don't think we really had that, but I don't think we had anything normal this since Corona, since March of 2020, February of 2020. I don't think the market has had an opportunity to be normal. So what has happened is we've gotten all this $8 trillion of stimulus that has brought the market up to this really high level that we had, but yet there are no economic fundamentals. See, I can be a politician and I can throw money at a problem and it'll look like it solves the problem for as long as I keep throwing the money at it. But the second I stop the artificial support, which is what we're talking about, tapering, the second that I stop the artificial support, the market has to be able to stand on its own two legs. And our market does not have the fundamentals to stand on its own two legs. Not only do we have 10 million plus job openings, but we have lost 25 million people from the workforce in the last 6 months. Look at the data. 4 million people have left the workforce in September, October, November, December. We have lost 20 plus million people permanently who have decided that they can do better not working than working, whether it's because of some kind of check they'll get from the government, from the refundable child tax credit under AFP that the government wants to make permanent with the big BBB, Build Back Better, that was quashed in December through Joe Manchin right before Christmas that they will try now to revive and make it look something else. I am offended. I am personally offended by BBB, Build Back Better. And let me tell you why. Because Joe Biden used Build Back Better as his presidential slogan. And all you have to do is go to Google, type in WEF or spell it out, World Economic Forum, and type in BBB or spell it out, Build Back Better. And you will realize that this man ran a presidential campaign with a slogan that is intended for the Great Reset. Italy uses it. France uses it. The entire World Economic Forum, every country that belongs to the World Economic Forum has used this BBB slogan. It should be offensive to Americans that a presidential candidate who took office, whose administration took office, it should be offensive to us that he would outsource his slogan not for Americans, but he would take a slogan that is for the World Economic Forum, that is intended to bring about the Great Reset, and use that to run a presidential campaign in the United States. And then to make an actual law around the BBB that has nothing to do with America and everything to do with the world. That is offensive to me because I want the politicians that are running for America to represent America, not the World Economic Forum, not the World Economic Forum's ideal global reset, which is a global currency reset and governmental reset. They want a supreme government body that supersedes the authority of every country individually to be sitting on top of all countries. And they think that coronavirus gives them the impetus to get it passed because they think that people, when they're afraid enough, will give up freedoms for security. And it's so ironic because if you look at Benjamin Franklin and what he said, we should be leery always of people who come in the name of taking away freedom to give you security. Think about it. There's nothing more attractive when we feel as a human being threatened in any way than having someone say, don't worry, come over here. I'll protect you. I just need you to give up your right to travel without a test or without your right to go into a restaurant or to go into a theater or to go into a movie without proving your status of your health. You need to start proving that now. And we start to see very quickly our country diverging into two sets of citizens, those who are vaccinated and those who are unvaccinated. And we've done this before. The world has done this before. America has done this before, having two sets of classes of citizens. And it was wrong then, and it's just as wrong now. And Germany did this before, where they segmented classes of citizens. And it was wrong then, and it's just as wrong now. And you might be saying, well, that's your choice. It's your choice not to go participate in this medical situation. And I will just say to anybody who says that, you clearly have not done the same level of research I have done for my own personal decision. For example, as an attorney, I can tell you that any medical treatment that is authorized under an EUA, an emergency use authorization, has two parameters that it must legally meet before the FDA could even approve such a EUA treatment. Number one, there must be no alternative investments. Listen to me. There must be no alternative treatments available in the marketplace. So if you want to know why everyone seemed to attack hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin back in the early days of 2020, when I think at the time President Trump came out and said that hydroxychloroquine was purely a cure, you saw the medical establishment completely crush that. You had the Lancet come out with a since now repudiated and retracted article that said hydroxychloroquine does not work. You had all of these things happen. Why? Because EUA vaccines, which is what they were fast tracking while all this was happening in the early days of Corona, they could never come to market if there was a white label hydroxychloroquine off-label use that could be prescribed successfully to combat the virus. So you saw that be quashed. That was the first thing. EUA, we'll come back to EUA. The second thing is when you have EUA, the AMA knows this, all politicians know this, it demands, it requires informed consent, because when something is not fully approved through the FDA longitudinal testing process, and it is approved through a short-term EU or emergency use authorization because there are nothing else, there are no other treatments that are available. Therefore, we need to fast track something because we need something go to market immediately, like we were sold with the coronavirus EUA vaccines. When these things happen, the government is required to give you fully informed consent, meaning they must describe to you the side effects that the test participants experienced up to and including death. And you must sign that release of liability, knowing that you are releasing all liability even if you die. That is required. Informed consent is required under EUA. Interestingly enough, what we've seen is the AMA tell doctors how to obfuscate and how to not answer very direct efficacy and safety questions. It's interesting that both Pfizer and Moderna initially had efficacy of a 98+%, 99%, 98%. And if you watch the news articles over the 12-month span, you see that it comes down to 40-something%. And that's why then the boosters start coming into the mix. And now the boosters have to be required because the staying power of whatever these EUA treatments do wasn't known. And now it's known that they need the boosters. So forget all that. Let's talk now about Pfizer and this comorbidity. If you call Pfizer right now and ask a live Pfizer representative if you can go out and you decided you want to go ahead and get this treatment and you want to go out and you want to get the FDA approved one, Pfizer will inform you immediately that this comorbidity is not yet available in the marketplace. It's not available. So I have been able to deduce as an attorney that what I think has happened here, which is you had a lot of vaccine hesitancy with people that didn't want to take an EUA authorized vehicle. They wanted something that had longer term and had the full FDA approval. So then Pfizer goes and gets this full FDA approval and touts it to the world, tells the world the day it's approved, the FDA has approved it. Here's the FDA approval letter. But then they did something very curious. They haven't marketed the drug at all, which if you know anything about biopharmaceutical or pharmaceutical investments or any kind of biopharma, if you know anything about how they operate, when you're expecting FDA approval, you have a marketing website that is ready to launch at the FDA approval. They haven't marketed their FDA approved medication at all. There is no website. There is nothing. That is not highly unusual. It has never happened. It is not normal. Then you call Pfizer and you ask where you can go get this, and you find out that it's not being offered anywhere. The only thing that is still right now on the market is the EUA for Pfizer and Moderna and J&J. This could kind of be a friendly pat on the back, because the second that Pfizer's fully FDA-approved comorbidity comes to the market, that means the EUA for Johnson & Johnson and the EUA for Moderna have to end, because now there is an alternative FDA fully approved biologic available. and the EUA cannot exist while there is an alternative medication. So I don't know if Pfizer is doing a service to Moderna and Johnson & Johnson or Janssen, but something is happening there. There is a reason that we have a fully FDA-approved product that has not been released. So understand that the government has intentionally tried to confuse the American public. For people that wanted more reassurances, that did not want to participate in an EUA, they went ahead and had Pfizer get the full FDA approval, yet Pfizer is not releasing that product, and the ingredients are dissimilar. We know this because a federal judge ruled at the end of November, beginning of December, that these two, the federally approved Comirnaty and the FDA EUA for Pfizer, is not one and the same. They are legally distinctive and they cannot be treated as the same. So Pfizer can no longer say, but we have this and it's the same, you can go get it, because they know that the formulary and the ingredients are in fact distinct and legally distinctive. And a federal judge just ruled that very recently. So we're going to get to see now what's going on. So this whole situation has been a parlay into additional division in our country. And I don't know how else to say it, but we have got to come together as Americans. We have got to come together and stop being skeptical of each other's motives and saying, oh, you're just trying to do this or that or kill people. There are some people that do not want to take any kind of medication under an emergency use authorization because they know the testing has been truncated, the data is shortened, and they know that they are legally waiving all liability. We have liability waived by manufacturers and the state and the country of America anyways, unless they do something intentionally and maliciously. It's a very high standard to meet. So, and then of course we have childhood vaccines that are completely exempted under 1986 law of all liability whatsoever. I think the American people are starting to wake up and say, should I really take something that is experimental, that circumvented the normal testing cycles to rush it to the market for a virus that has been around now for nearly 2 years that I have not yet gotten, or if I have gotten, I've got natural immunity, I got through it. Do I want to put myself in that kind of situation where I'm waiving the liability of even my possible death because I'm taking an EUA? There are some people that just want to wait until they get a fully approved liability attached product on the market that doesn't exist right now. And I don't think that those people should be vilified as anti-vaxxers or vilified as anti-scientific, because in fact, if you look at the data of a study that just came out this past year, 2021, it said that the resistance is highest at the PhD college educated level. So these people are not dumb. These are not dummies. These are thoughtful, analytical people that are thinking through what this government has done and how they've rolled these things out. And they're starting to ask serious, legitimate questions that you are not going to be able to just wave away by saying, oh, anti-vaxxer, conspiracy theorist. Give me a break. Give me a break. Let's discuss the facts. And if you can argue the facts with these people and you can go toe-to-toe on the facts, then maybe these people will start to listen and start to go out and participate in a society that has told them they must take this to just go to the movies or go out to eat, which is completely unacceptable. We cannot go back to a two-class of citizenship in this country. That is wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. It is wrong on medical conditions. It is wrong on religious conditions. It is wrong on race conditions. It is wrong on gender conditions. It is wrong in any capacity. It is wrong. We are all humans. We are Americans first. Let's remember that first. And I will just encourage you as 22 gets started, and I know that there are going to be huge things coming for 2022. If you do not have a source of faith in your life, it is a good time to turn to the faith maybe of your childhood, return back to your roots, because in the coming days, with the coming things, we are all going to need to be able to touch what grounds us and what stabilizes us, because this year is going to be a huge year of massive developments. And so be grounded, return to your roots, be stabilized, be steadfast, be secure in who you are and what you stand for, because the world will test it. If we have not learned anything else these last 2 years, we have learned that. With that, I will end this unusual crashes and taxes. I hope you enjoyed this. Happy New Year 2022, you guys. I'm looking forward to an incredible 2022. We are going to be here with you play by play, breaking it all down, because this is going to be one of the biggest years of your life. I promise you. Until next time, God bless. Thank you, everybody.